what is the mission? Tell me what it's all about first, and then
So
I'll get
Halo
into the question about you.
Okay. Halo Missions is, like you said, a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization in Nashville. What we do is we work with women in all stages of drug and alcohol recovery. Um, so what we provide is we provide an art therapy class. This is where they learn how to make guitar string jewelry from used and played guitar strings here in Nashville. So we teach these women a form of art therapy. They learn how to make the jewelry, and they're paid per each piece that they make.
Oh,
So
okay.
our whole mission is focused around women in all stages of recovery.
Now, part of how this started is that you yourself, and I may not use the right phraseology, so you may have to correct me because from what I've heard, kind of once an addict, always an addict. But you are an addict yourself, but you're a
Yes,
recovering addict. You're
yes, sir.
in. How long have you been sober?
7.5 years.
Wow,
7.5 years.
congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a blessing.
Uh, I can just imagine. I mean, I really can. How did you go from sobriety to developing this organization? What was the thing that made you think, "Oh, wow, this would be a really good thing to help women," just the organization overall, not necessarily what we're going to be talking about later and stuff,
Yeah.
but just the organization itself.
So I went to a rehab facility called the Next Door, which is in Nashville. Wonderful, amazing program. They turned my whole life around. That was in 2014. When I was there, they offered an art therapy class. They had painting, jewelry making, all different types of things. And I grew up making my own jewelry, so I was very intrigued in that. And I noticed and picked up really quick when I was making the jewelry and having others say how much they liked it. It was kind of like a pat on the back, and it was so what's the word? It was very mind relaxing. It kept my hands and minds busy. My creativity started flowing. And I got the opportunity to sign up for another organization in Nashville to work for them making jewelry. And one thing led to another, looking at different ideas on other art, websites and things like that. And we came up with using guitar strings because they're, Nashville, guitar strings. And they're also a form of metal that cannot be broken down in landfill. So you're also recycling that item.
Okay.
So that's kind of where that came into play.
Well, that's a good story. I mean, because it's not something that, you just sit around one day at the kitchen table and go, "Okay, I'm gonna start a 501(c)(3) to help
Yeah,
out women in recovery, and this is what we're gonna do."
right, right.
Now, Halo, when you look at the website, and I'm talking to our listeners and all, when you look at the website, Halo is in all caps
Yes.
because it is an acronym for, and what is that acronym?
Helping and leading others.
Okay. And was that something that you came up with? Did you have some help, or was that just kind of the epiphany that you had as this is what we're going to call it because that's what it's going to do?
So there was a dear friend of mine. She's passed away. Her and I opened this together. We both were graduates of the Next Door. Um, Her and I started this together. When we started this, it was not a 501(c)(3). We were a for-profit, but still mission organization.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, so her and I, we started brainstorming and we had all different, we knew we wanted something with an acronym just because it stood out and it was where we could personalize it ourselves. And this was the one we chose. So that's how that came about. And actually, we just recently this year became we are now that entity of the nonprofit. So we've actually
Oh,
just gotten that organization, which has been great. It
that's
was a
awesome.
lot of hard work, and I had
Yes.
nothing to do with that, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that because I'm kind of in the midst of doing that with the uh, kind of a charity event that I work with, and it's the same thing. I mean, it can take you years to get the nonprofit, the 501c3. It is unbelievable how long it takes, and I don't know why that is. And I'm not going to speculate because I try not to get political. Uh,
Right.
but just to reiterate, Kristen is here, and she is the founder of Halo Missions in Nashville. Now, Halo Missions, as we were talking earlier, it is um, a mission art therapy um, kind of, or they use art therapy within the mission to help out women who are recovering. Now, a lot of these women that recover, they come from like um, where you were from,
Mhm.
the as far as the rehab, and there's other
Right.
facilities that they come from. And how are they? Because one of the stipulations is they have to stay sober in order to be a part of this. They have to stay clean. How do you I mean, is that something hard right now with I mean, the way the world is, people have a lot of stress on them, and I'm not trying
Right.
to minimize anything, but
Right.
is that a difficulty?
We've had a few ladies. We've been around for 4.5 years.
Mhm.
So I've actually got myself included. There's 3 women that are still working with me to this day who are still in recovery. It's been a blessing because I've gotten to watch them grow. They've gotten to watch me grow. There
Right.
has been some ladies throughout the way who lost their way again, unfortunately, and it it happens. Unfortunately, sometimes you can kind of see it coming. Um, but it what's great about this program is the accountability because all of us women here are so connected. We're sisters, in recovery. Um, it's just it's very it holds a lot of accountability for sure. Because if one notices someone, maybe their personality is slipping a little bit, or you notice them kind of drifting away from what they should be doing, you can call each other out on it. So it's actually a really good. We're a lot closer than most organizations would be, I guess you could say.
Right. Well, and tell me this, because you said earlier that when you started out, you were a for-profit.
Yes.
And so you just got the non-for-profit, the basically it's an NPO status. And how do you support the mission itself now that it's not for profit?
So so what we do, so where the jewelry goes when the jewelry is made from the women, we sell, I don't know if you knew this, but we've got a mobile kiosk on Broadway downtown in Nashville.
Okay.
So that's where the jewelry is sold. So that's what covers all of our overhead costs. So the jewelry that the women make that they're paid for, that's how it's generated. So it flows back to the mission. Um, we decided to do the nonprofit organization because we're trying to be able to expand more. We're only working with one rehab facility right now, and due to COVID, that's kind of put a damper in a lot of, other instances. But
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
we wanted to do something where we could try to do some type of yearly fundraiser, something that would help us expand because in the beginning, we grew so quick. It was just it was amazing. And then we had a lot of downtime during COVID. That's when actually the staff they got together and started the nonprofit um,
Okay.
paperwork and all of that. But so that's how we're able to generate paying the overhead, the women, things like that is the jewelry that's made. We then sell it in retail shops, online shop, um, our mobile kiosk, things like that.
Right. Now, I'm going to do something here, and for our viewers, bear with me because this may be a total cluster. I want to show off some of the jewelry, and I'm going to keep Chris and myself up here. You may not be able to see our faces, but you'll be able to see the jewelry because this stuff is awesome. I mean, I'm sitting
Mhm.
here looking at it, and I can't say anything because there's probably certain people watching, if you know what I mean. So I can't say anything, but I am going to show you
Mm.
some of the jewelry that they make that I think is just unbelievable. This is one of my absolute favorites right here.
Yep.
That is a bracelet made out of a guitar string with a guitar pick on it. And here's another one. And I think, yes, I did. I think this is, no, I didn't either. I thought I had the Nashville one on here. They have one that has Nashville on it. on the bracelet, it's got like long, I don't know what you would call them, kind of like almost a clasp looking.
Mhm.
But they don't only do that, they do the rings, which these
Mhm.
are just a small part of what the rings look like. You can go to the site it's halomissions.com, right? Not
Yes.
.org.
.com. Yes,
And
sir.
you can check that out. And then here's some more. They do earrings. I mean, the necklace, here's another set of earrings. This necklace they call the lasso necklace, which is really cool because
Mhm.
it just fits through the heart. But that heart is made out of a guitar string.
Yep. Yes, sir.
And I mean, that is so cool that you do that because it's just, I mean, like you said, Nashville is known for music, and what better way to do it? Now,
Right.
the idea of the guitar strings, and I don't think I asked you this,
Uh-huh.
where did that part of it come from? Where you said you were already making jewelry. Had you already started that when you got into this and you just kind
Yes.
of used it more?
Yes, so there was an organization at the rehab facility I went to that made guitar string jewelry, but
Mhm,
different types. It was completely different design, so I had already gotten a feeling of what it feels like in your hands, how to, mold them and shape them.
mhm.
So I definitely cannot take any credit for that by no means. Um, but a bunch of us put our heads together, those of us that started this organization, and we came up with our own designs and um, in fact, we named each piece after a song. That took a lot of time to sit and think about what each piece should be named.
And I thought that was so cool because as I was looking through there, and I don't remember the names or anything, but I when I was looking through the website, I thought it was really nifty, that you did that.
Thank
Now,
you.
this is one of the cool things about it too, because the strings are used by Nashville musicians,
Mhm. Yes, sir.
but there's a mystery behind every string
Yeah.
because you have no idea who used that string.
No.
It could be a string used by Vince Gill.
Mhm.
It could be a string used by, Miranda Lambert. It could
Yep.
be, I mean, anybody in Nashville. And these strings now, do they come from the recording studios or do you have other places that you get them?
I've got several guitar shops in Nashville that donate to the mission. Our biggest supporter is Corner Music in East Nashville and Gibson Guitar. They are two of our biggest. And what's neat about that, and they'll tell you the same thing. They have there's no telling how many people come in a day and change their guitar strings. So what they do is they take them and they put them in our recycle bin, and we pick them up about twice a month. Um, and I can tell you when you pick them up, they're all tangled together. It kind of reminds me of the big Christmas ball of light on the Christmas Vacation. That's what
Right.
it's like going through them. But yes, they are our biggest supporter. We have lucked out, and we did get 38 Specials guitar strings one time. So
Wow.
that was really neat. We're hoping to get some local artists that might want to donate their guitar strings to us. That's something in the future works.
Yeah. I work with a lot of independent country artists on the
Yeah,
podcast, and, when I'm down there in February, I'm gonna be sharing this with them
thank
and
you.
seeing if we can't maybe figure out a way to get those to you because I
Yeah,
mean, they live in Nashville and some of them travel. I've got some that travel all over the country and a lot of artists even from out of, other states that
yeah,
would be super happy to do that. So I'll talk to a lot of them and see if we can't maybe set up something to where you get those
yeah.
uh, from them, because I
Thank
mean,
you.
guitar strings are something that if they're gigging out, they're changing every
Oh,
night.
oh, absolutely.
You know? And so, I and I have another connection that I will talk to get a major artist in Nashville, um,
Okay,
maybe get some strings from him as well, and I'll let you know about that after the show because
okay.
I feel like when I talk about it, I'm kinda bragging, but I don't
Yeah.
mean to, you know? But now, Okay, so you've gotten 38 specials, but you never know who they're going to come from, and a lot of times, if they come from a studio or even Gibson Guitar, you don't even know who they're coming from
Exactly.
because
They don't, yeah,
a lot of these artists, they'll go into the guitar shops, even though a lot of them have people on the road with them that will change them out, stuff like that. But when they get back home and maybe they have a guitar they don't like to take out on the road, but they like to play around the house, you
right,
know, they've got to change strings and stuff like that. So,
right.
as a matter of fact, I've got 3 hanging on the wall here. I probably need to get the strings changed on. Um, one of them, I don't think they've never been changed, and it's a Dylan Scott autographed guitar. It's never been played either, but it's
Wow.
oh my goodness, it's 7 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, the strings are you can look at them and go, "Oh, wow, I wouldn't play those."
They might break, right?
Yeah, there's some kind of disease in there you're probably gonna get from those strings, let me tell
Yeah.
you. Now, the way that I found out about the mission, and this was so cool because my wife and I are going to be there in February. It's they call it a country radio seminar. It's a huge radio conference. Radio people from around the country are going to be there, and they didn't have it last year because of COVID, and we haven't been in like 3 years. So we decided, we're just going to do it.
Yeah.
And uh, a lot of people will stay at the hotels, but we like Airbnbs. I mean, we have friends in Nashville we can stay with and family, but we decided we were going to do an Airbnb this year. And as I'm looking through this Airbnb that we wound up getting,
Mhm.
it talked about Halo Mission and it talked about the guitar strings. And I told my wife, I said the rings and the jewelry, and I told my wife
Mhm.
then, I said, I really want to do that.
Yeah.
And, so we're gonna try to get into a class to do that because you do classes with this. Now tell me
Mhm.
about that. How because a lot of it is it's through Airbnbs is the way you do that?
Mhm.
Okay, so
So
explain that to me.
so I had absolutely nothing to do with this as well. I've got an amazing I can't brag on my staff enough. I've got she's actually my cousin. She, is our secretary for the board.
Mhm.
She's also a school teacher, so she knows she's young too, so she knows all about Airbnb, VRBO, all of that. She was looking one day, this was about 2 years ago, and had found the Airbnb experiences where you can do hands-on things through with whatever city you're traveling in if you're an Airbnb guest, and so she signed us up. We did not think that we were gonna be accepted. We were accepted pretty quickly, and when we started, I don't know how many pages there are of things to do in Nashville. We were on the very last page, and I believe we're on the first page now. We've
Yeah,
had that many classes. That was another thing. It was a God thing, and it was a blessing. It really has been awesome because it's also created another job for somebody as well,
right.
being a full, a teacher.
Right, because you or one of your staff are the ones that go in and do the classes.
Right. Yes, sir.
And you go over, like, the tools they're gonna use, you
Mhm.
explain how it's done, and then you work with him. How long do the classes usually last?
About an hour, that's what we have blocked off. What's neat about this hour is in the beginning, we like you said, we show the tools that they'll be using. We kinda tell them a little bit about our mission because some people, when they're signing up, they don't get the chance to read, so they don't know that we're a mission organization and what all we do. So we get to explain that, and then they have time to make 2 to 3 rings. So you're talking, I believe they retail at $13, so you're paying $30 for class, and you can make up to 3 rings, you could give them to somebody as a souvenir or, something from Nashville.
Right.
So
Now
it's about an hour.
okay, and how does somebody sign up for that? I mean, basically, they go through and they schedule an Airbnb, and then they can
Mhm.
schedule it through that? Is that the way it works?
You can find it on the Nashville Airbnb experience page, or, you can go to that's bit.ly/Halo Missions, and that will connect you directly to our page, and it will show you calendars of opening dates, if you don't see an opening, you can message us, and if we have availability, we'll be happy to take that class.
Okay. And is there a minimum number of people that you prefer to have in the class?
No, we've had classes of 1, we've had classes of 20. Um, Now the larger classes we have to do at another location, but we do it at the Nashville Farmers Market
Okay.
in Nashville. So it's very we usually do morning classes, so it's very quiet. It's not super busy in there. We've got a great little place. They love us being there. Um, but we usually have 1 to 6 people in a class.
Wow.
So yeah.
Is it easier to and this is like a teaching type question, but doing something like this, I mean, this is hands-on and it could be time consuming, but
Mhm.
and frustrating, because I've seen the way that some of these rings look. So,
Yeah.
you know, um, and they're, I mean, pretty, and the bracelets, I mean, they're pretty detailed and they have
Mhm.
like more to them than just the strings, and I
Right.
think that's really awesome. But uh, do you do you find that it's easier to work with a smaller group than a larger group?
It depends. If there's 1 of us, yes. If there's 2, we can do it, no problem. It also depends on the crowd as well. I'll have people that have come in there and they're just hands-on, they pick it up, no problem. But
Mhm.
because it's such a tiny thing that you're doing, it's very tedious, so it's very that's the hardest part is because it is so small.
Right.
Um, but we've been teaching, like, the women in recovery for such a long time. We just kinda we've learned we've gotten our niche with it trying to help, and
Right.
what's neat is we're right there. If they get stumped, we're right there to help and just, help guide them through it.
Right. You know all the hacks, what it boils down to, that you can
Yeah,
help
pretty
and change
much.
everything. You get to go this way, you do it this way, it'll go a lot faster.
Right, right.
Now, I and another thing, like with the and you just teach the rings, the rest of the jewelry, you don't teach them how to make. You just teach the rings and, the remainder of the jewelry, is that like a kind of a trade secret that you wanna hang on to help with the mission, or is that just, the rings are so much easier to do?
Yeah. A little
Okay.
of both, to be honest. The bracelets, they take about 4 to 5 classes to learn because there's so
Mm,
much to them. There's a handmade clasp that is just that's the hardest part to teach, and then when you get into the detail, adding the guitar picks and stuff like that, there's a lot to it.
right.
Um, the rings, number 1, it's not using the whole entire guitar string, so it's so small, and it's kinda rings are our number 1 seller downtown in Nashville on our cart because they are so small and they're a great souvenir. They're the great price point, so it was just perfect for this type of experience on Airbnb.
Right. And like I said, I mean, when we ran across this, my first inclination was because we were looking at all the experiences. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, uh, it's no secret that we're going to be super busy that week because
yeah,
I will be doing some podcast interviews while I'm down there, and then we're going to be going for sessions and here to there and hanging out with friends we haven't seen in a couple of years and stuff like that. But
right.
it's like my wife and I are just getting to the point where it's fun to go, and
Yeah,
and we love going to Nashville. I mean, that's likely where we'll wind up retiring one day,
yeah.
if property prices ever go down,
Ooh, I know.
because it's quite expensive right now.
It is.
But we just thought that would be a cool experience to do,
Mhm.
as opposed to some of the stuff they had. Some of
Right.
it was, you know, just not really in our, I guess, in our wheelhouse, and we're both
Yeah.
kinda crafty people, we
Yeah.
like to do those kinda things, and I'm, hands-on for the most part, but sometimes I have some problems, and so
Yeah.
it's like I get frustrated kinda easy with it, but it's more
Right.
frustration at me. But
Yeah.
I'm determined I'm gonna do this,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna make some rings. We have with our daughter-in-laws, we have 5 girls. I almost forgot our granddaughter. Ooh, boy, I'd have been in trouble there.
You would have
Uh,
got in trouble.
oh, big time, because she's the only granddaughter. All the others are grandsons.
Uh,
And so, we thought, well, we could do that. And if we can't, make enough, then I'm sure we'll find other ways. But,
yeah,
especially for the granddaughter, because I think it's going to be something that we can't make. I mean, you talk about making them small.
yeah, right.
She's gonna be 4 here in about the next week. So
Yeah,
it's like,
we can make it. We've made some for brand new babies.
oh my
It's
goodness.
yes, of course they wouldn't wear it, but maybe just something to keep. But yeah,
Right.
we can definitely make that happen.
And that, that's just a little special thing that we like to do, as me, mom, and papa, we like to do
Yeah,
the little things for them. We've took the boys to their first, and the granddaughter to their first baseball games, like
yeah,
in the St. Louis Cardinals. We took them to Springfield, Missouri to the Cardinals and stuff like that. So
yeah.
just we like to do those kind of first things with them, and this would be something really cool to say, oh, my mima or my papa made that for me.
Right.
And so make it big enough to where she can wear it in high school or whatever and talk about
Right.
it. But it's a really it's I mean, I just love the idea of it. Now, you talk about the kiosk that you have downtown. Are there any other, like, storefronts or brick and mortar places that they can be purchased?
Yes. There is one downtown. I don't know if you remember last Christmas, there was a Christmas Day bombing on Second Avenue. Um,
Mhm.
Unfortunately, there was a lady there who owned two gift shops. She owned both of them. They were side by side. She lost both of them that morning.
Uh,
Well, just when you thought that that was the end of her rope, um, insurance kicked in, and she has just opened her brand new shop where she combined both of her shops together in one. It's called Nashville's Best Boutique, and it is over in Marathon Music Works, which is there's a distillery, a Harley Davidson shop,
mhm.
just a bunch of different places, and it's a hop on, hop off trolley stop. So this catastrophe ended in a blessing for her because this place has almost doubled her sales and her clientele. So she carries our jewelry, and then there's 10 House of Blue locations throughout the United States. We're in all of their gift shops.
Oh, awesome.
That was another thing that was a godsend that happened just by coincidence.
Yeah, we've
Um,
been to the House of Blues in Chicago, actually, but
yeah, yeah,
didn't that's been a while back, and it was before the mission was started. I mean,
yeah,
tell how
yeah.
long ago. But, yeah, I'm sorry, I just kind of a rabbit I was chasing there with that. Uh, but so you're at the inside Marathon Music Works, and then you're
Yeah,
also at the House of Blues across the country, which is awesome. I mean, you're coast to coast with that,
yes, yes,
um, because I mean, I don't know where they're all at, to be honest with you. I know Chicago, I know there's one in LA. I think there's one, I wanna say Daytona or Orlando, somewhere down.
Orlando. Uh-huh,
Okay.
yeah,
And those are 3 of the ones that I know. St.
yeah,
Louis doesn't have one,
right.
unfortunately. Um, Kansas City, does Kansas City have a House of Blues? I don't think they do.
No, no, Texas, Las Vegas, Chicago, Orlando, um, Hollywood,
Mhm.
um, oh, Myrtle Beach, actually in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Um, that might be it. I'm probably missing a couple.
But the neat thing about that is that, I mean, you're expanding out to places where a lot of tourists are going
Mhm.
outside of Nashville. I mean, we all saw this past Friday night, Nashville can pack a lot of people in.
Oh, oh yeah,
Uh, I'm sure our daughter was down there, our youngest daughter, and her boyfriend, and I'm like, there's going to be 200 plus thousand people down there. There is
right.
no way you would get me down there on New Year's Eve.
No.
Uh, it's bad enough during country radio seminar. I mean, there's
Right.
not a lot of we've all been there before, and like I said, we all work in the country music industry, and realize that every country artist, be it Miranda Lambert or Jason Aldean or George Strait or Kenny Chesney, they all put their pants on one leg at a time.
Right.
We're past the starstruck stage, so it doesn't phase us.
Yeah.
Um, we just like to take pictures with them to look important.
Yeah. This is what I did.
Yeah, and I probably have some radio friends that are gonna go, "You have no idea how true that is."
Right.
And some of them may say, "Don't give our secrets away," but that's true, I
Yeah.
mean, we do. But I think with the expansion of the sale of them to all these House of Blues locations, I think that is
Mhm.
just great.
Thank you.
And now when you first off, that's a lot of jewelry to make, to do it
Yes.
by hand.
Yes.
I mean, that just hit me, if you're in 10 locations, you
Mhm.
have to maintain more than likely somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 pieces, um, per however many times you ship them, and probably more than
Mhm.
that. I'm probably way off base on that.
Yeah.
Uh, but on a rack, I mean, it would be 100 to probably 1,000 pieces on each rack, depending on the height and,
Yeah.
the sides or whatever. How do you do it?
So our busiest House of Blues is Orlando because it's right there outside of Disney World. They are
Mhm.
our biggest supporter because they have so much clientele. They're our biggest. So I say, we're in all 10 shops throughout the United States, but we have a lot of shops that only order maybe once a year, and they'll order, a fairly large bulk. Orlando before COVID hit was ordering at least every other month, and it was a very large quantity. They just started doing live shows there, I believe, about 6 months ago.
Oh,
But um, yeah, on a weekly during the summertime, when the spring starts, all the way until October, we are super busy. We've got at least 20 to 25 women working for us making jewelry, including myself. I usually take care of all of our online shops and organize the boutique orders and assign out to what needs to be made. But yeah, definitely before COVID, we had anywhere from 30 to 35 women. Right now, we've only got about 10 just because it's so cold. We do not go outside when it's below
right.
40 degrees, you know.
I don't blame you. I don't either if I
Yeah,
don't have to.
right. You will not find us downtown if it's below 40.
Yeah, I walked out
So,
tonight to get in my truck and it was 29 degrees, and I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, but when on my way to work this morning, it was 20. And then, of
right.
course, now Nashville just got snow, and I
Mhm,
think in the neighborhood of what some places got up to about 4 inches, it looked like,
mhm.
maybe 5,
Yeah,
which is quite a bit of snow. I
yeah,
mean, for Nashville especially. I've been in Nashville when it snowed before,
yeah,
but never seen that. I mean, it's like just walking from Broadway over to, the hotel, and it'd be snowing,
yeah,
but it wasn't sticking because it was warmer that day,
right.
how, the meteorologists tell you if it's over a certain temperature, it's not gonna stick, so don't worry about it, just enjoy it
Right.
or whatever. But, so when you say that you're not out in 40 degrees because you had this kiosk, where and it's mobile, where is it normally set up? Now, is it like a push cart or is it a
Yes,
vehicle? It's a push cart.
it
Where
is
do
a
you
postcard.
usually set up?
So on Broadway, there is a Savannah Candy Kitchen. I'm sure you know where that's at, and
Mhm.
Valentine. We have got permission from both of them. Love our mission. We actually stand right there. Um, Sometimes we will switch over to Jason Aldean's, which is exactly right across the street.
Right,
Um, so these are shops that have given us permission, to stand outside of their shop
right.
to sell. We have to have a vending permit through Metro Public Works and things like that. But that's where you'll find us.
So if I'm in Nashville, that's where I'm gonna look. Jason Aldean's or over at the Savannah Candy Kitchen
Mhm.
or anywhere down in that general area. I mean, you're gonna
Right.
be one or the other.
Yes.
Um, and if and then the boutique that you were talking about that is in um golly, it just slipped my mind, where the lady
Um,
had the 2 and combined them and she put them where was it? Marathon.
Marathon Music. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Marathon
Marathon
Music.
Motor. Mhm.
Yeah. And so if I'm down there and I'm going to be looking around for that kind of stuff. Now, if somebody's not going to get to Nashville, you
Uh-huh.
know, but they like the jewelry and they want to purchase it, how can they do that?
So the halomissions.com, that's got pretty much all of our designs. Um, in the past, we've had people will look at our Instagram or Facebook page, and every now and then we'll post. It's kind of a sample bracelet. Should we put this online? Should we not? Just kind of getting the general views opinion on it.
Hmm.
We've had people before go on our website and not see what they saw on our social media, and they'll message us, and we're pretty fast at responding and saying, "Hey, can you make this?" And we can custom make just about anything.
Oh, wow.
So halomissions.com, you can order anything from bracelets, necklaces, rings, and yep, earrings. Um,
Right.
and also, we have had memory pieces made before. So if you have a loved one that's passed away, or your granddaughter plays, the guitar, and you want to have something made with her strings, we do that quite a bit actually.
Okay.
So it makes it more special.
Right. Right. That's kind of cool because her daddy does play guitar.
Yeah,
And so that would be kind of cool to have a string that he's done and have it made into a ring for her.
yeah.
Uh, and now I was looking at your site earlier and at the dates that you have available, and it looks like normally now, and this is just what I'm seeing on the calendar. You're normally doing the classes about once a month.
Well, actually, we've got to go through and update that. We took a week off for
Okay.
Christmas. We didn't shut down completely, but we did, step that we weren't going to take any classes, but we usually do classes on Mondays and Fridays,
Hmm.
from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. and then 11 to 12. So we'll do 2 2-hour blocks Mondays and Fridays. Um,
Okay.
if somebody's in Nashville and they're going to be there, during a window that we don't have anything, they just have to message us, and if we usually we find a way to make it available, if you need a certain date
Right.
and time.
Right.
We've done that plenty of times, yes.
Now, when you do that, are they still going to the farmer's market, or do you have another location that you utilize for those, say, special one-off classes type of thing?
So the Nashville Farmers Market is where we do about 95% of our classes. Now, we
Hmm.
have before gone to someone's personal Airbnb, say they
Right.
had a larger crowd or they were just wanting to be in their own personal setting. We've done that too. Um,
Okay.
right now, Halo Emissions, we do not have our own office space that we work out of our home. So that's something that's in the works too, hopefully in the near future, to have our own brick and mortar where we can have our class, sell our jewelry, do all of that in-house.
Right.
Um, but yes, Nashville Farmers Market, and then we can also come to your Airbnb.
Right. Now, a question that just hit me that I don't think I asked earlier. All the money now, there's as with anything, there's an overhead.
Uh-huh.
You have to buy the tools, you have to purchase this or that. It may be some of the wires, like on a couple of the rings or the bracelets I saw, they have like another wire, and that may not. Is it all guitar strings, regardless? I mean,
So like for instance with the heart necklace that you showed, that little tiny piece is a guitar string, and it's only about this big. So we're using only a quarter of the guitar string to make that little heart. On our bracelets, we actually do use the entire string because we have to fold it 3 different ways.
right.
Um, but the wire you'll see on some of our bracelets, they look like spacers, and it's
Hmm.
wire wrapping. That wire is actually stripped from the inside of a bass guitar string. So, pretty
Okay.
much the whole piece of jewelry besides our necklaces, with the chains, we
Right.
try to utilize every part of the guitar string as we can. Even the little ferrule balls that how you connect your guitar, we use those as stones and gems.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've seen that, like, and I even saw it was earrings that you used and made out of the I'm not a guitar player. I just have these on the wall to look good.
Yeah.
But I think that's the little variable that you're talking
Yep.
about at the end, but you've
Yeah.
made earrings out of those?
Uh-huh. Well,
And
at the putting the ferrule ball on top on the guitar string, yes. Yeah.
okay. So
Yes.
the guitar string is actually the post of the earrings?
Yes. Mhm. It's
Wow.
the earring you're talking about is our Tears in Heaven, so the teardrop is the guitar string
Okay.
itself. Yes.
Okay. I like that. I really
Thank
did. I
you.
like that. I didn't realize that that's what that was called. Like I said, I
Yeah.
looked at them, but there's so much,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get as much as I can on you and the organization. Well, on the organization, I don't want to say on you, but on the
Right.
organization to talk about. And it's like I'm seeing all these things. I'm going, man, these are just so neat.
Thank you.
And so, I mean, those are other things. Now, uh, those are not something that you teach. That's something that you just put together with your group of ladies that are working on this. Now, you talked about I started to say earlier, you've got the overhead of buying, the tools. You don't have really an overhead of the strings.
Mhm.
And right now you don't have an overhead of an office space because you're doing it from your homes,
Right.
but still there's got to be money involved. But all this, every penny goes, well, the money made off of these, one, you're paying the ladies
Mhm.
from each sale.
Right. So everyone in our mission, including myself and all of our overhead, everyone on my board, everyone is in recovery. So the money that's generated from each sale, whether it's online, on our kiosk, our Airbnb classes, boutiques, it's generated back through the company and it pays all of the payroll. It buys all of our supplies, um,
Right,
stones and guitar picks, things like that. It pays all of our, state taxes, things like that that we have to pay, insurance,
right.
parking passes downtown.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
always park at the library for $10 a day.
Right. Yeah.
They're gonna kill me for saying that because people are
Yeah.
gonna go to Nashville now, they're gonna go to the library and park all day.
Right. Right.
But, I mean, it's like you're helping them out by giving them something to help with the recovery, to keep their mind and their hands busy,
Mhm.
and but at the same time, you're also paying them for what they're doing, which I
Mhm.
know for them is huge, you
Yeah.
know? And, have you found any competition in the country at all? I mean, I don't wanna call it competition because
Yeah.
that's not really why you're doing it. Are there other people, other organizations that are doing the same thing you're doing?
Yes, there is.
Shame on
There
them.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna take the credit because they started their organization first. They're actually a really great organization. They work with women, in human trafficking, so they're
Oh,
just as credible and doing just as amazing things. Their
right,
jewelry is just as beautiful. There are some competitors out there, but, sometimes it gives me a little bit more push to be more creative, and
right,
the women that I have working here, they've all got such creative minds. I let them all have creative in fact, a lot of the designs online, one of the women in recovery has made, and we'll dedicate it to her, so that everyone knows that she's the one that created this, not Halo Mission. She
right.
created this, and she gets the credit for that. So,
That's really, really awesome to do because I mean, there's just a lot of cool designs, like I said. I'm I'm a big fan of, there was a couple of rings that I saw, a couple of bracelets that I saw. Like I said, you got one that's got like a I don't know, kind of like an ornate thing that says Nashville.
yeah.
And I wish I would have thought about it when I did the logo for the podcast because the B is actually a flat, is what
Uh-huh.
it is. And then
Mhm.
you guys in that you take the treble clef and you make the S out of. And I thought, man, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Only problem with that is really hard to put on a license plate.
I bet. I
So
bet.
I have personal license plates on my truck that say "Before Nashville," and I had to condense it down, so I'm hoping
Yeah,
I don't offend anybody in Nashville by it, but hey, that's the only thing I could do because Missouri only gives you so many letters and stuff you can use.
right,
You know,
right,
you've only got 7 spaces you can use, and one of them has to be a special character or a blank.
right,
Okay, right. So, I don't know, talk to the governor about that one, I guess.
right.
But, now, again, it's Halo Missions, and if you wanna find out more, you can go to halomissions.com, that's their website. You can check out all their jewelry, and I showed a lot of pictures of it earlier. Um, and I'm gonna just put a couple more of them back up here. There's the bracelet. I like the bracelets and the wraparounds and the way that you do that. I think those look cool.
Thank
One of
you.
my absolute favorite pieces is this one.
Yeah.
Um, now is the pick, does it go behind? I mean, does the bracelet go behind the pick or is it like, because I can't see very well, is it like in the ends here? Like there's a hole in it and you've got it
We
wrapped around there.
we take the guitar pick and we punch holes in each side, so it's laid
Okay.
on top of the bracelet. So when you're wearing it, it's face up, where everybody can see it, but it's wrapped down so that it won't snag on anything. It's pretty secure too.
Okay. And I was just curious on that because I know people that may have guitar picks that we could put out there too.
That'd be
Um,
great.
and So if you want to find out more, go to halomissions.com, check out this jewelry and order some. I mean, this is great stuff. I know we just came through Christmas and I'm a little late to the party on sharing this, but it's a new year and it's only the third day. And unless it's somebody that has the same birthday as my grandson or myself, which are all within the first 3 days of the year,
Oh,
everybody's got a birthday coming up.
yeah, that's right.
So you can order for your wife, your girlfriend, your sister, your mom, your favorite aunt, your favorite mother-in-law, hopefully
Yeah,
your only mother-in-law.
yeah.
you know, uh, anybody like that. And quite honestly, I mean, looking at some of these bracelets, I don't wear a lot of metal bracelets. I wear the silicone ones, but each one has a specific message to it.
Mhm.
I have like 4 of those and they all have a specific message for it,
Right.
and a particular reason. But these are stuff that I would wear. I mean, they're really cool and definitely conversation starters. That's the best thing about
Absolutely. Yes,
it.
you said it. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can get primarily the bracelets and the earrings and the rings themselves, the necklaces, unless somebody really looked at it or they just admired it, and then you can tell them where it came from,
Right,
after that.
right.
But by all means, go check it out. It's halomissions, .com. If you're gonna be in Nashville, check them out. Again, Marathon Music Works, their kiosk right there in the area of Jason Aldean's kitchen and rooftop bar. Um, the Gibson, no, Gibson's where you get the strings. You don't have them
Yeah,
set up there. You get the strings
yeah.
from Gibson.
Mhm.
And if any of my artist friends are watching tonight, any of the independent artists, get a hold of me and I will get Kristen's information and we'll figure out a way we can get these sent to you and
That'd be great.
put a little note in there as to who they come from and that kind of thing, just so you know
Yeah,
the backstory on
right. That would be
'em.
great.
So we really like for you guys to help them out. Again, halomissions.com. Kristen, thanks for taking time out of your night to chat with me, and I really appreciate it. We're looking forward to being down there in February and taking the class. I think my wife's pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
Once I can figure out the schedule of everything going on, which will actually probably build around the class because it's already set in stone.
Oh,
And so, we want to build around that and kind of see what we can do outside of that because we're taking the class regardless. We are taking the
awesome.
class.
Well,
So
I'll be sure to teach it myself.
that would be great. That'd be
Yes.
awesome. It'd be
Yeah.
wonderful to meet you.
Yeah.
So again, check them out, halomissions.com. Check out all this wonderful jewelry. It all goes for a great cause. It's helping women coming out of recovery, or coming out of yeah, coming out of you know, recovery and maintaining their recovery.
Right.
I'm trying to say that the best I can, and
Yeah.
sometimes it kind of, but it's helping women with recovering from addiction. So it's another charity that you can help out, and you get a great looking piece of jewelry that you can give to anybody in your life as well. So go check them out. And Kristen, we will see you in about 5 weeks or so.
Okay. I look forward to it.
All
Thank you
right.
for
So
having me. I appreciate it.
you're so welcome. And before we get totally out of here, I'll tell you a couple of things real quick. I just didn't want you to
Okay.
take off yet. But
All right.
thanks a lot for everybody tuning in. We appreciate it. Be sure to share this video, okay? If you don't do anything else, share this video so your friends and your family can see it, because this is a really cool thing. I know I've got friends in Nashville that may be watching or are not watching, and am going to share it specifically with them to get them kind of curious about it, and some other folks. So if you're watching, then share it. That's all I'm going to ask, is just for you to share it, to get the message of Halo Missions out there. So more people can help them out, because what they're doing is really awesome, and the way that they do it is really awesome as well. So until Thursday night, we'll have another guest on. We'll get back to music on Thursday night. But again, thanks, Kristen, so much for coming on, and you have a wonderful evening.
You do the same. Thank you.
Uh huh.